pulled out front and I see that 35-foot brick wall. It's like a reality check, you know.
This place is full of snitches just running around thinking they're cool.
Monday, I was totally discharged, and I got tickets to see the Minnesota Twins play the Kansas City Royals Thursday.
I shot 3 people, he cut up 2.
And I made 2 knives.
You know, they trusted me with their daughter. I ended up killing her.
How can you prove the padlock line?
Assault with a weapon, that is a Class A violation.
Okay, I have a life sentence.
Life sentence. Life without parole.
I'm doing a life sentence.
And I have a life sentence.
First-degree murder, life sentence.
2 inmates arriving at the Animosa State Penitentiary. The very look of the prison can be intimidating. More than 100 years old, it was built entirely of limestone from nearby quarries. Over the years, as the criminal population increased, so did the size of the prison. Today, some 1,300 inmates live behind the massive 35-foot walls, and like any prison, the threat of danger is everywhere.
Around our perimeter, we have 7 gun towers. They're manned throughout the day.
The danger is there each time you walk through that gate. You know, you don't know what's going to happen from the time you get on shift to the time you get off shift.
It's only 2 types of people in prison. You got the predators and you got the prey.
I stabbed an inmate 12 times over some dope in front of the chow hall.
You got somebody in your face everywhere you go around here.
Always keep in mind where you're working. Try not to compromise any advantage you have. Don't ever assume anything.
You always got the chance of an inmate wanting to escape. You don't know when or you don't know how they're going to try it, you know. Our sex
When inmates break the rules, they're sent to the disciplinary unit, also known as the hole. Here, prisoners are allowed only 1 hour of exercise a day. The other 23 hours, they're locked in their cells.
This is like the prison within the prison, so to speak. They come here basically due to actions of out on the yard or in a living unit. They've somehow broken the rules, misbehaved. They're brought up here for corrective management to try to improve their behavior.
Animosa has a zero-tolerance policy for rule infractions, so it doesn't take much for an inmate to end up here. But some inmates complain that the prison is infested with rats, inmates who trump up charges against another inmate to try to gain favor with guards, or simply as a form of revenge.
So many people want to tell on you, and this place is full of snitches just running around thinking they're cool.
Inmates often rat out others by writing an anonymous complaint called a kite.
Say, I want to get him off the yard because I'm mad at him. All I have to do is drop a kite saying, okay, he's thinking about escaping. I drop it in the mailbox. Next thing you know, he gets locked up and investigated because that's a serious offense.
When an inmate is suspected of any violation, he's allowed to defend himself in a disciplinary hearing.
They appear before the administrative law judge on major reports, and it's his determination whether to retain it as a major violation, which could result in loss of earned time, cell arrest, or placement in disciplinary detention.
Often the charges against inmates are for minor infractions and the penalties are minimal. But in cases involving violence between inmates, the punishment can be severe. l0ck is accused of assaulting an inmate with a padlock. It's a very serious charge. If convicted, he could spend the next year in the hole.
What happened was an inmate had got assaulted. My defense to them was telling them that I was in the area. I was just pushed out of the way as the inmate was trying to get away from the person that assaulted him.
Extra precautions have been taken to move l0ck from his cell block to the area of the prison where his hearing will take place.
Your number? 1147-686. The notice is from Lieutenant Collins. He cites violations 2, 11, 23, 27, 43, and 9. On April the 8th at 10:30 account, Allen was assaulted in LUB. I determined that inmate l0ck assaulted Allen with a weapon and it was used in the assault. Allen sustained injuries to his head above the right eye and required stitches, and broke his right hand trying to block the weapon that required a cast. I have here the photos of the scene of the incident that I will share with you. Also before me I have a sock with padlock inside.
I didn't have nothing to do with the assault. When the assault took place, I was in the stairs and the inmate ran by me. And that's when I believe I was mistaken as somebody that they thought by me being pushed aside when he was running, that I was the one that assaulted him.
Do you have any enemies in the institution, Mr. Bullock?
I'm not going to disclose their names.
Well, I'm trying to help you with your defense. As I read to you, there's confidential information available that I've read, that I've considered, and those are the statements from the various witnesses to this incident. And it's my responsibility to establish their credibility. I'm giving you an opportunity to provide to me names of people that may not be credible.
I didn't hear no confidential information from nobody.
It's in your disciplinary notice. You've had every opportunity to present a defense to this issue.
How can I defend myself with a report when you say there's a weapon involved, and I don't even know what the weapon is?
I showed it to you.
Oh, now you tell me what the weapon is. In the report, it don't say nothing about what the weapon is.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say today?
Yes, if you're gonna find me guilty of something, find me guilty by connecting with that padlock, DNA, fingerprints.
The standard of evidence is some evidence. The courts have ruled that that can be the report of the staff member. If you choose to be hard-headed about it, which apparently you are, then there's nothing more I can do.
How can you prove the padlock's mine?
I'm not going to let this hearing continue at this rate. And at this point, I'm going to conclude your testimony, and you may have a chair in the
You
other
telling me the padlock is mine? That's exactly what I'm talking about. They saying the padlock is mine. They can't even prove it's mine.
Have a seat.
The administrative law judge must decide if there's enough evidence and eyewitness testimony to convict Bullock.
I feel like I've been manipulated through their policies.
After 20 minutes of deliberation, the judge makes his decision.
Mr. Bullock, my finding is assault with a weapon. That is a Class A violation per IDOC policy. The accountability for that is 365 days of disciplinary detention and a forfeiture of 365 days of earned time. You'll also be required to pay any medical costs that may be associated with this incident. Here we go.
Bullock received the maximum punishment. For some inmates, the idea of spending life in prison is impossible to accept.
I don't see my life as being in prison. I see it as being outside the walls.
Larry Morgan was convicted of sexually assaulting and murdering a young girl in 1994. He's serving a life sentence without parole.
Well, I didn't do it. They convicted me of it anyhow, and I've got to live with that, but there's been a lot of threats against me, and so I've been locked up the whole time.
Fearing for his safety, Morgan asked to be placed in the protective custody unit at Animosa.
Well, at first it's kind of claustrophobic being in a little cell, 23 hours a day, but it's, after a while you get used to it. I've seen people lose their minds in these little cells. What I miss most about freedom is just probably being able to be outside. And I miss the sun. I haven't felt the sun on me since 2001 now. For me, I've got to hope that somehow or another truth will prevail in the end and my convictions will be overturned. Otherwise, I'm probably sitting in a little cell for the rest of my life.
Spending days, months, and years living in a cramped room the size of a closet can take its toll on any prisoner.
A claustrophobic dude couldn't live in here. He'd freak out. Man, at first, I ain't gonna lie, I come over here and I was like, man, I can do that and not even extend my arm.
My bed is 6 feet long. There's a couple inches at that end of the bed, and there's this space here, a couple of feet, where the toilet is and the sink, so it's probably about 8 feet long.
These inmates are lucky. Through good behavior, they've earned their own cells.
It's the sweetest reward ever to finally be by yourself. I can come in here and I close off out there and watch TV, read a book, do whatever I want to do, draw, it doesn't matter.
But the majority of inmates here don't have that luxury.
This is l0ck. They call it an animal house.
Have you ever seen the movie Shawshank Redemption? That's kind of like what it's like, except without all the death, you know?
It's pretty tight. But as long as you have a good cellie, and you just got to learn how to learn each other's routines, each other's ways, the way they live, and you just work around each other.
We got 3 men in here, both my cellies up top and bottom. If somebody got to use the bathroom, we'll leave. You know, put a little sign on the door, and
We just kick back, watch TV, listen to music, eat food, and kick it. That's about it. That's all you can do in here.
The hot pot's easy. You fill it full of hot water, you plug it in, and you cook whatever you want to cook. Like, for example, if I wanted to cook a hamburger from the window that's cold, you fill it full of hot water. You take your cup, set it upside down, put your hamburger on there open in the package, and you can steam heat it. And then, if you want to make big meals, we got shoe boxes, which we call tubs. They're shoe boxes built to store stuff, but you empty them and then make a good dip bowl. Nachos, 10 or 12 soups, a bag of chili, a tub of cheese, 2 summer dogs, fill it full of water, let it cook, mix it up, dip it into your bowls and eat.
After spending so many hours in a confined space, inmates value time spent outside their cells. Exercise is the most popular pastime, along with getting a shave and a haircut at the prison barbershop.
I like to talk people into doing a little something a little more stylish instead of just the same old. Makes them hold their head up higher.
If you can't rehabilitate your parents and yourself at the same time, you know, you're gonna stay in these tombs forever.
Right over behind it is a shaving mirror. And in that shaving mirror, you usually see 3 people standing in line, tightening up their faces. That's a daily thing, all day. They get a good haircut and just feel better about themselves.
Up next, an inmate confronts the parents of the girl he murdered.
The victim's mom and stepdad are here today. Vicky and Greg. They trusted me with their daughter, and I ended up killing her.
Animosa State Penitentiary houses hundreds of violent inmates. And like most prisons, it's a place where faith is often in short supply.
there's nothing in here. The best thing to do is to try to keep your mind as focused as possible so you don't, because every time you come in here, it takes a piece of you. And I don't want it to take a piece of me where I don't have who I am anymore.
It makes you question religion, it makes you question politics, it makes you question anything you ever believed in.
Prison life can be especially hard for inmates like 24-year-old Romeo Harden.
My original conviction, I came to prison at 15 years old for felony murder. And my sentence is life without possibility of parole. So if I don't get any justice through the penal system, then I would die right here in this prison property in this cage.
When he's not exercising, Harden spends his time writing poetry.
Poetry is one of the things that helps me cope with my confinement. It's like you can escape through your words. Maybe no one hears them, but you have them. I used to be a banger, but now I talk to the enemy in isolation, where walls become memories, memories become pain, pain becomes thunder, soaked in a grief, let it rain. Life is death, yet livable and continual. I was resenting foes, now photographic reflections of lost times inside the imagination, ejaculating with passions of all kind, bound by concrete and steel, totally detached, a lost mind. That's called concrete and steel.
In an effort to give inmates a chance to restore faith in themselves and atone for their crimes, the prison started a unique program called SAVE, seriously acknowledging victims' emotions.
not enough attention is paid towards the victim. This group here, you know, it get guys chance enough to come and sit down and understand and find out why they have the behaviors that they have, commit the crimes that we do.
Typically, inmates prefer to hide from their crimes. But those attending today's session have made the daring decision to confront their victims' families face to face.
It's called choices because we know that forgiveness only nullifies the pain and hurt and loneliness and tears that we have caused, because we truly realize the pain that we brought to so many innocent lives. We thank Miss Source. I thank my victim Sydney and Miss Boys. We know we did wrong, and we realize that.
I want to thank all you guys for taking the time out to come up. This today is I'm nervous, by the way. My victim's name is Jenny Crompton. I'm doing a first-degree murder, doing life sentence for it. I've been in.
20 years ago, Mark Smith stabbed his high school sweetheart to death on a hot summer day after school.
She thought I was cheating on her, and I didn't want to hear it. She got pretty emotional, you know, upset. I was getting upset, and with her getting upset made me even get more upset. You know, I just went back and forth. Got to pushing, you know, and then she's trying to tell me, well, you better go, you better go. I'm like, I really don't care, you know? I mean, you're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to push me around. So she went to the kitchen. She come back out with this knife in her hand, right? From the kitchen block that she had in the kitchen, right? And I'm like, what are you going to do with that? You know, well, you're trying to tell me to get out of the house, and now you're going to try to use this to scare me out of the house to get me going. I mean, it just clicked. All of a sudden, something snapped. You know, I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. This ain't happening. You know, you're not gonna do this to me. You know. So she got closer to me, man. I went to try to snatch the knife from her, right? And as we're struggling with the knife, I ended up stabbing her with it. Okay. And then just like it was like a hit of adrenaline. You know, a shot of adrenaline. I couldn't stop. You know, I snapped and just kept going, man. I stabbed her multiple times. There's a lot I want to say, but right now there's so much on my mind I can't say it. My victim's mom and stepdad are here today, Vicky and Greg. I want to thank them very much for coming. I took these people's trust because, you know, they trusted me with their daughter, you know, not to hurt her in any way, and I ended up killing her. You know, I can say that. You know, I can admit that I've killed somebody.
When we made the decision to come to the prison to visit with Mark, a lot of our friends and family were like, are you crazy? Well, you know, I was full of rage, and I was not healing very well, and I wanted to tell him about that. And so we brought with us, do you remember, some pictures of you guys when you were dating? And then I also had this photograph of Jenny dead on the emergency room table. And I remember we kind of pulled out the nice pictures, and Mark was smiling and kind of talking about him, and then pulled out this other picture. And I know that, Mark, you didn't want to look at it. And I was so angry, I just wanted to keep shoving it in front of your face. And I remember I said to you, I want to hear you say that you killed Jenny. And I realized how hard that was for you, but you did it. And everything just changed because Mark's reaction. And so that has given me a peace.
No prison can ever reform every inmate or heal the wounds they've inflicted on society. But the SAVE program offers inmates a way to reach out from behind bars to those who have suffered at their hands.
Hearing Mark say, I'm sorry, was a very healing thing for us. So I don't want you to think that it doesn't mean anything. I think it's really powerful to say that I am sorry.
It takes a lot out of you. I mean, it emotionally just drains you, you know, like these talks that we have, and, you know, it's hard. It tires you out. Bye. Thank you, guys. Okay. Thank you.
Up next, one man's journey from violent life they'll ever have. On a hill overlooking Animosa is a small cemetery. It's a quiet, desolate place, and like the prison itself, the gravestones are old and weathered.
Being buried in our cemetery is an option for any inmate, regardless of whether they're alive or whatever. Some of the old-timers who have done a lot of years, this has been their home for a long, long time, and they make the request that they want to die here, where their friends are, and want to be buried here.
For most of the inmates at Animosa, death is a long way off. The average age of these men is 36, and some will have a second chance at life on the outside. But for many of the inmates serving life sentences, death is the only way out.
This all I got, this is my life. You know, I'm gonna die here, and that's the reality. They gonna take my body, cause ain't nobody gonna take it.
James T-Bone Taylor was once considered one of Animosa's most notorious criminals. A former street gang member, he's serving a double life sentence for killing 2 police officers.
I hate that I'm gonna die in the penitentiary. I'm not happy about it, but I accept it because really I don't have no choice in it because I'm not gonna take my own life. But I'm gonna make the best of this life sentence, you know what I mean?
When he first arrived at Animosa, Taylor was considered one of the most dangerous inmates ever to set foot inside the prison.
They was on pins and needles, right, when I got here, when they heard that I was gonna get here, so they was on pins and needles because they didn't know how I was gonna behave. I got a stack of disciplinary reports because I disobeyed direct orders. I wouldn't take no orders, you know, because I thought I was above that, right? So they locked me up because they didn't want no gangbangers running this institution.
But after years of violent outbreaks, defiant behavior, and long stretches spent in solitary confinement, Taylor decided to turn his life around.
It took a while to get me a job. It took about 6 months. I had to go around and really convince certain staff that, I want to do right.
Eventually, Taylor got a job in the clothing room where he has worked for the past 2 years. He also found a new lease on life as a mentor to many of the younger inmates at Animosa.
The girl got victimized. Are they too different?
This one's about all the poisonous animals.
Sean Gathercole is Taylor's cellmate. He's serving 25 years for first-degree theft and assault.
We became cellies about a month and a half ago. It was really inspirational to know that even though with the hard times that he's gone through, he still has that power in him to help other people and not to just turn their backs on him like everybody else does. There's still times I get scared when trouble comes up or I get confronted by someone else, but I'm not as scared as I was when I first came in. Because I see that there's a lot of people like Taylor, there's a lot of people you can sit down and talk to when you have a bad day or when you're just getting homesick.
Sean, I was just watching, it was about all these frogs.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But inside the prison's general population, perhaps Taylor is most admired for his efforts to reach out to new inmates arriving at Animosa. Prisoners come here from a variety of jails and correctional institutions. Most are repeat offenders. Some are transferred here as the result of disciplinary problems.
We average on an annual basis approximately 750 inmates that are brought into the institution.
For these inmates, processing into Animosa can be shocking. The prospect of spending prolonged periods of time confined within these walls in close quarters with violent criminals shakes many men to the core.
I've been in trouble with the law since I was 17. I'm 41 now. And then, another majority of my life and to be missing again, You know, it's a feeling that, you know, I missed decades over decades, and here we go another almost a decade again. I got to do what I got to do, and just, you know, I got remorse for what I did. I can't change that. So I just got to lay down and do my time and get out and just live a productive life this time, change my lifestyle, you know.
For Lance McCutcheon, who received a 5-year sentence for selling drugs, arriving at Animosa is a bitter realization of a life gone wrong.
When I pulled out front and I seen that 35-foot brick wall, man, it's like a reality check, you know. It's my first time being locked up. I'm locked up for selling drugs. I felt hatred, but, you know, most of the hatred I feel for myself, because wasn't nobody forced me to sell drugs. You know, I sold drugs, you know what I'm saying, to try and have a better life for myself and my family. And I was walking around with thousands, and I jumped on somebody over $65. And when the police came, I had 56 grams of marijuana on me in my underwear, and it cost me 5 years here, you know. And just to sit back and think about it, you know, I could let that $65 go. I'd still be in the world with my family.
You do tattoos, just do upper bodies and then make a note if they have any others.
Upon arrival, new inmates are photographed and digital stills are taken of any tattoos they might have. These photos often help identify gang affiliations, which can influence housing decisions.
I've had a headache for about the last 5-6 days, you know, and it's mainly just due from stress, thinking of my family, my wife, kids. It's like a real bad dream, you know, and you're awake through it the whole time, you know.
After being photographed, inmates are strip searched for contraband or weapons. When the procedure is over, they're given an issue of clothing prior to receiving their housing assignment. While prison officials strive to make the experience as humane as possible, the rules and procedures, loss of personal freedom, and the fear of the unknown can be unnerving for any inmate.
I just got to do the best I can while I'm here. Take every day for a day and learn from my mistakes, you know, so I can get back out there. I ain't got to worry about coming back into a place like this, you know.
When these inmates are finally ready to be integrated into the prison population, they attend a program that prison officials have allowed James T-Bone Taylor to facilitate.
When there's a dude in this cell, man, he trying to kill himself, it ain't gonna be me, man. Running down there, oh, pop my door, let me go down here and save Joe Blow, because he trying to kill himself. It ain't gonna be me, because I ain't gonna save you. I ain't here to save you. You gotta save yourself.
Part orientation and part shock therapy, it prepares new arrivals for the harsh reality of prison life.
They already understand it. And what we do here, man, this ain't no scared scrape or nothing like that. Guys that done been in the joint before, they already understand. This is for the cats, man, that's never been behind the walls. So I talk about the rules that we have to live by as prisoners. You know, I talk about the gang affiliation. I talk about the homosexual activity. I talk about the different types of diseases in here. I talk about the gambling.
We utilize Mr. Taylor because he's a person who's done approximately 25 years in a life sentence, and he's come forward to change his life around from being a gangbanger for years to somebody who wants to help other people, especially young inmates who come in.
Do your time, man. No, do your own bit. You ain't got to impress nobody. Only way you can impress me if you can get back outside to the free world. Then I'm impressed. I think that's one of the best things that the institution can do for an inmate, is have somebody like Mr. Taylor who's been through the system the way that he has, you know, and then he comes one-on-one.
There is a brotherhood among inmates, a friendship and loyalty which often develops between the men over time. But nowhere is that bond stronger than with family.
One good thing about coming to prison is it made us that much closer.
Michael Love and his brother Brad have been at Animosa for the past 12 years after committing a brutal crime at a Christmas party.
They tried to throw us out of the party and take the liquor that we had brought. And two of them jumped at Brad and they had him pinned up against the side of the trailer. I had three of them attack me. They threatened our lives. We left, went to my trailer, grabbed a 20-gauge shotgun, a Gurkha machete, went back out there, and that's what went down. And I shot 3 people, he cut up 2.
One guy's got like partial brain damage, and the other one just got
He'll never
his arm.
use his right hand again.
Although both men faced life sentences for murder, Michael pled guilty so that Brad could plea bargain down to lesser time.
Brad didn't kill anybody. I'm the one that shot and killed the guy. So I didn't think it fair for him to spend the rest of his life in prison, which I didn't want that anyway. He gets to go home where I'll probably end up dying in prison.
The brothers live in separate cell houses on the prison grounds, but outside, they're always together.
Lifting weights, it keeps me from bugging out on somebody or hurting them. That's a good way to release your frustration.
Growing up, I wanted to be him. You know, he's almost 4 years older than me. So when I was like 11, he was already 14 in his teens and stuff. You know, and I see him running around drinking and breaking into stuff and doing whatever he's doing, and I'm like, I'm gonna be like him. That's my big brother. That's my idol. And so, you know, I kind of followed in the same footsteps.
I love him to death. I'd do anything for Brad. Anything. Short of killing somebody again. We're really close. He makes doing time so much easier. He was 18, and he had a whole life ahead of him. He could have been a pro football player or a rock star, whatever he wanted to be. And I feel in my mind and my heart that I ruined that for him. There's no way to explain how much guilt I carry around.
Brad hopes he will be paroled from Animosa in 8 to 10 years. But his freedom will carry a high price.
If somebody's on probation or parole, they cannot be on a visiting list of a person that's incarcerated.
Right. Because once he gets out, I'll never be able to see him again because he'll be on probation or parole the rest of his life.
Well, I hope they make an exception and at least let me talk to him.
As unusual as the Love brothers' situation might seem, they're not alone.
All right, homie. I don't know what kind of bullshit they got up in this food hall, man.
Dustin Maples and Dennis Creel are half-brothers. They have the same mother.
Out of here, come home with us. Get out there and home, boy. You know what I'm saying?
Dustin is serving 5 years for second-degree theft. Dennis is doing 10 years for first-degree theft.
Time's a lot easier on your side when you got family on your side, you know what I'm saying? The way you can stick together no matter what, help each other out, you know what I'm saying? You know, you can talk to them about anything, you know what I'm saying? You can't talk to a friend like you can your brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, we talk about this garbage-ass food, man. Ain't no taste to it. They boil all the out of it, and they don't care how it's cooked, just as long as they get us fed, you know what I'm saying?
Growing up, the brothers became active in gangs and have been in and out of jail since their early teens.
I love to do to death, man. We're best friends on the streets. We've always struggled together. Mama had to do what she had to do to put a roof over our heads and clothes on our back. She struggled to make things work for us, and it did. She always tell us, you know what I'm saying, that we should have listened to her, which we should have, but we chose to go off on the wrong path with the gang life and cause trouble for ourselves. And we caused our moms a lot of pain and struggle through the years, you know what I'm saying? We understand that. I don't know my dad. I was always referring to him as a sperm donor. You know, he left when I was like 3 months in my mom's belly. I guess he tried to kill me, kick my mom down the stairs when she was pregnant with me. My father, he left when I was like 5 years old. I ain't seen him since. I don't even know the dude. I don't care about him. You know? You ain't gotta care about somebody that don't be there for you. You know what I'm saying? I'll be out at 10:30 tomorrow. I'll holler at you tomorrow, all right? All right, bro. All right, homie. Love you, man. Love you too, dog.
Up next, how solitary confinement may assure one inmate his freedom.
I don't want nobody else on the yard that's not going home this decade to screw my time up.
For many inmates, a calendar is a bitter reminder of lost time. For others, a simple X means they're one step closer to freedom.
This helps a lot. I've marked down my last 63 days. My wife made this for me. She always told me to stay true. That's the first 3 letters of my first name and the first 3 letters of my last name.
Although Stacy Trevelyan was sentenced to 5 years for an altercation with his neighbor, his good behavior at Animosa cut that time in half.
I got through it with no write-ups and no loss of good time. My wife has never missed visits. Anytime we have opportunity to have visits, she's always been there.
In just 3 days, Trevelyan's wife will visit with him again. Only this time, he's going home with her.
Monday, I'll be free to go anywhere I want to go. And I got tickets to see the Minnesota Twins play the Kansas City Royals Thursday.
Fearing that he might become a target of other inmates jealous of his parole, Trevelyan asked to spend his last 3 months in the protective custody unit.
Being in PC, I'm not allowed to be around other inmates, and they're not allowed to be around me. My wife and children have waited long enough for me to come home, and I don't want nobody else on the yard that's not going home this decade to screw my time up.
Albert Ware is another inmate expecting a visit from his wife. But unlike Stacy Trevelyan, Ware will likely never leave Animosa. 20 years ago, he killed a man in a bungled robbery attempt and was sentenced to life without parole.
Although I didn't intend to kill the man, I did kill the man, and I just have to be a man about it.
Ware is one of the few inmates who has remained married while serving a life sentence.
It's rare. Most guys that were married when they come in here, they didn't stay married long.
Hell, you got a visit.
Thanks. My wife is the most important person in my life. The visits that we have here are the only contact we have. She'll come and visit me. When she leaves, I'll just sit back and I'll wait for the next visit. We just have to take them as we get them. Good to see you, honey. It's been a while.
Yeah?
How long's it been?
A couple months, probably.
How the boys doing?
Fine.
Staying out of trouble, huh?
Yeah. I usually come as often as I can, because he's my life. I just want to be with him any way I can.
This is all we can do is just sit here and hold hands. You know, there's prisons that allow conjugal visits, and man, if we could get there, yeah. But we'll take what we can get, and this is all we can get.
It has been 3 days since we met Stacy Trevelyan. Today, he's going home.
Okay, good. I just say I'm optimistic. I got a good support system, so I don't anticipate ever coming back. I'm a changed person, and I did learn from this experience. This gentleman here.
And then you state your full name and number.
Stacy Trevelyan, 0031821.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
All right, thanks a lot.
You ready for another 45 years?
Yeah.
Your dream.
Yeah, that's right. It's over with. It's
time.
definitely over, yep. Stay with me every step of the way.
It's nice. The sun is bright today.
Nice. This is real nice. Freedom. Fresh air. A lot different than the air in there, believe it or not.
Bye.